Reporters Diary news from the banking space. We learned that the Reserve Bank of India is planning to tweak the new debt restructuring norms, popularly called S4A. Banks have been lobbying hard for the rules to be watered down. They say they have not been able to make much headway with this scheme. Ritu Singh now joins us. Ritu, will the RBI play ball?
Well, at least the banks on their part have been lobbying very hard to bring about more flexibility in the bad loans restructuring scheme, which is, as you pointed out, the S4A. Currently, under this scheme, at least 50% of the company's debt has to be seen as sustainable, and the other half can be converted to quasi-equity by banks. And now the sustainable half of the debt is supposed to be serviced with the existing cash flows itself without changing the repayment tenor. And the classification of the account does not change merely by invoking this S4A scheme. But obviously now banks are asking for some of these very key conditions to be eased. So while the RBI is already considering allowing the sustainable portion of the debt to be considered as standard, banks have gone ahead and asked for the scheme to at least be made available to more projects under implementation or non-project loans as well. The other important modification they've also asked for is allowing changes in the repayment schedule of the sustainable portion of the debt, which includes the use of the 525 scheme as well. Other than these two key changes, banks have sought lower provisioning requirement for S4 cases, which currently is higher than the provision requirement for other NPA accounts, and also to allow S4A to be invoked at lower than 50% sustainable levels of debt. So put together, what does all of this mean? It means banks will have more incentive to use this scheme. Their provision and requirements will go down. And also, if the RBI does decide to implement all these changes, what will also be significant is the fact that this will signify the softening of stance as far as a fight against bad loans is concerned, which may not necessarily be seen as a good thing.
All right. Thank you so much for those details, Ritu. Moving on.